Hello everyone, Phoenix61 here with your daily dose of World of Warships Legends shenanigans. We've got kind of a long one for you today. Triple game, 3 games in Agir here. If you've watched, if you were on one of my recent live streams, tried to play in this ship and did really terrible. I think I'd multiple games. So I was like, all right, you know what? I know I can do good with this ship. I tend to have fun and be aggressive with this ship, and a lot of times that's my downfall. With hopefully the lack of the whiskey mug and some regular gameplay for the day, we can do a little bit better, right? So we came out wide here. We get a little bit, I don't know, lucky, or, we have a little bit of an advantage here because nobody on the red team challenged me on the outside of this flank. So we're able to go in, challenge, and contest the zone. We know there's a destroyer in there. I think he's just a little too far away for my sonar to pick him up. I'm actually kind of surprised I'm still spotted at this point, but anyway, we'll take the shot at the Monarch, even though the kind of islands are in the way there. And then, of course, he does show up right away. Right, and I know that we've got, we're good. Yeah, there we go. Triple torpedo hit there. That's going to wreck him. And then, I do have sort of a brawler build on this thing that I think most people don't do with this ship. So that's part of my probably downfall most of the time when I play it as well. But yeah, as you can see, we've got decent secondaries. Not as good as the Schroeder, but similar, right? We get... you're lacking, I think the Schroeder has 2 turrets in the back. I can't remember, but with the Agir, you do get the torpedoes as well. So it makes for a little more interesting kind of circumstances when you do get in close with people. And then, of course, we do get the secondary battery booster. So I will go through the build at the end of the 3rd game, and I am saving the best for last. Keep that in mind. So if you're short on time, maybe fast forward or stick around, whatever. But yeah, so I think last live stream I did was kind of embarrassing. Where normally I have 1 or 2 games that I'll go and I'll do the cheater YouTube thing where I'll cut and paste that, right? I'll go and take that good game and make it a video that I post on the weekend or something, right? For my normal daily dose, right? But I had there was nothing. None of all my games were bad. We even won some, but they weren't exciting wins, right? They were, yeah. So it was so gameplay that evening. So props to those who actually stayed and hung out with me just for the sake of it, right? But yeah, so we'll get it to challenge this Republic, right? He's he's gonna be able to smash us pretty good with his main battery. We do get a torpedo hit there. Part of the shtick with this build is I am using a commander and a commander inspiration that gives you some damage reduction / buff, where you take less damage while your secondary batteries are aiming or firing or whatever, right? So we get a little bit of a cheese there, plus the good German armor scheme, right? Watch your angling and you're fine most of the time, right? So yeah, so I think we do take a big hit from the Republic at some point here, and I think it's probably mostly superstructure, kind of he's aiming high, right? But yeah, even there, that was so-so, that was acceptable. I know I'm not going to last too long pushing up on him, and also, I preach this on my channel quite a bit, someone running away from objectives, I typically like to let them go. I have this zone capped. I have an out by being able to sneak around the corner here, and then he's got to spend a bunch of time sailing back towards the objective, right? So I don't want to waste my ship just chasing somebody down, especially when I've got the zone capped on my side. So I'll just move away, let him make the mistake of coming back, toward and pushing into this destroyer that's on my team, on my flank over here in A, right? I can already tell he's moving towards him. And then we are spotted, right? So we know that we are within range of the enemy destroyer. We've got our nice German sonar. We've got a little bit of time left for the cooldown, but we're going to push up into him. He does get spotted by our destroyer, thankfully. our secondaries are going to start going to work on him. I did trigger the booster there just in case we could keep him spotted, or somebody kept him spotted, right? Yeah, but we'll keep an eye on the mini-map. All right, he goes down. I was going to say we could push into him, but we have to be careful of the Republic that's off to our port side, off to the left over here. Right, so we just have to keep that in mind. But he goes down. We were able to get rid of him. We will keep an eye on the Republic. And our Z-46 gets him with torpedoes, right? So we are free and clear on that side. Felt like I, for once in my life, played my flank well. I would say we did get a little bit, I don't know, like a little bit of an advantage, or like we still might have done good, but we got a little bit of an advantage where nobody challenged us on the outside early on, so that was helpful. But like again, like I'm in sort of a brawly type cruiser where we might have had some success regardless there anyway. And then of course in good old German battleship-y type guns, we got terrible dispersion, right? We're built for secondaries, we're built for brawling, so I don't have the best accuracy with these guns at range. We do get a couple of slaps here with them throughout these few matches, like that was decent. If I would have just let him a little bit better, that could have been we could have got the killing blow there for that one, right? But we'll continue to chase him down. Jean Bart finishes him off. That's classic. That's the polite thing to do, right? Just leave a little bit of health for somebody else. You know, we've all been there. Very healthy Brindisi, but he is, or Brindisi, right? I pronounce pretty much every ship in this game wrong, including the American ships, right? Anyway, yeah, a nice broadside shot on him, and we do get a Citadel hit there, but right, only 2 hits, right, out of the, 6 guns we fire, right? So, give or take, right, like you take what you can get with this thing, right, especially at this range, but we'll continue to pick on him. He's literally the only one left besides the carrier. So this game will get wrapped up fairly soon here, and what I'll do is we'll take a peek at the leaderboard on this one, then we'll go into game 2. I think there's a little bit of game 2 that I can fast forward through, right, and then because we're doing a little bit of sailing simulator after the good stuff happens, and then game 3 is where it's at today, so stay tuned for that, and then we'll go through commander build, because I do have kind of a unique commander build that I don't think very many people do with this ship, right? I don't think very many people play this ship, to be honest, right? But we walk away with 117,000 in damage, and we do get the top spot on the leaderboard, 2,800 XP. We walk away with 321,000 in silver currency. So we'll skip ahead to the action on game 2. We've got a Ruprecht. We're trying to angle away from him as we got spotted from him. Yeah, we jumped into the action, skipped the first couple minutes like I tend to do. Right, and then after we stopped firing our guns here, right, so, and we noticed we're not spotted anymore, so that was kind of giving me a hint that there was a destroyer off to the flank, and sure enough, there's an Elbing over there. And then if you notice, he was dropping his smoke, so now I know I have free range to fire at these guys without getting spotted again. So we'll take advantage of that. Since he's sitting in his smoke, he's not going to spot us. These guys don't have line of sight on us, right? So we can remain undetected for a little bit longer here, and we'll take advantage of that. See who our best choice of target is. We're going to go after the Riga, go after the cruiser here, and then I'm just got to watch my angling with these battleships, this Ruprecht, and then I think it was a Kansas or something else out there too. So we just have to pay attention to who they are looking at, right? I think they were looking at the other cruiser on our team, so we were able to get away with a little bit. Yeah, he's looking the other way. And then, of course, yes, we've got to deal with these Elbing torpedoes, I believe, right? I feel like they're reaching out a little bit too far here. There they go. There, they finally died out. And if Elbing's going to keep backing up, we'll take the shot at him, right? The only good destroyer on the enemy team is a dead destroyer on the enemy team, right? So, but we don't have the best of shots. He's kind of right at our range, and we know the guns aren't the greatest. And then, of course, there he disappears anyway, right? So, but yeah, I would say our cruiser probably, yeah, the Edinburgh, right, probably pushed up a little too much there for how early we are in the game. With, you know, the Ruprecht plus the Kansas in the middle of the map could definitely shoot him also. and then the L beam keeping him spotted, right? So once he ran out of smoke, he was pretty much screwed. But yeah, so we'll push up a little bit. I want to sort of find that sweet spot of drawing fire and being able to shoot enemies, right? And then if we do get lucky and we can bring someone in close to us, we can utilize secondaries and torpedoes. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge with the Ruprecht because we know that he's got a secondary build as well. He's probably got more guns than I do, right? So yeah, so we're going to have to be careful here. Yeah, it looks like his are already able to fire at us. He's got better range too. You can't get quite, I think it was like 9.4 or something kilometer range I was able to get on the secondary build on this, so yeah. So we'll shoot at the Riga here since we've got the better angle, right? We're trying to angle away from the battleships, and then the Riga is probably our best shot since we can get the front guns on him. And it looks like he's going to give us a little bit of angle here. If we can get the shot off before he disappears behind the island, we can. See if anything actually hits. I think we might not have led him enough. Yeah, we got an overpen and a ricochet. That's fine, whatever. And then, yeah, I know I don't want to... We're not going to beat out a Ruprecht one-on-one here with brawler builds, right? It's the battleship versus the cruiser, right? So, trying to keep my distance, and it's kind of not going our way. But it could be much worse if we pushed in too much, right? He'd have not only himself, but the support of his cruisers and battleships that are up back behind him too, right? So key here is I'm keeping an eye on the mini-map, hoping for a little bit of support, or if this Ruprecht does happen to come out far enough away from his allies, then maybe we'd have a chance to try and challenge him and get torpedoes and stuff like that. But so we're gonna have to wait and see. We're gonna be a little bit patient here. We're going to use the, we're going to hump the wall here, so to speak, right? Use the advantage of the, it's always hard to aim at players when they're bouncing up against the outside edge here, so we're sort of abusing that mechanic a little bit as well. Even the secondary batteries are kind of firing over top of us here. But he is going to now get within range of our secondaries, and so that's going to help us out a little bit here. We'll take the shot with the rear turret, see what we can get. An overpen worth 910 damage. Have you seen such a figure before, right? And now we are down another ship, right? So we are, we're down 4 ships and they've only lost 1. But now this Ruprecht has kind of pushed out and isolated himself. So I'm going to start trying to turn in. He's taken some heat from some other players on my team. Not quite within torp range yet. We are giving up a little bit of angle here, but I've got the secondary booster going, so that helps mitigate some damage from him. And then we do actually get him with our secondaries, so we'll take what we can get. Kansas, luckily, is not looking at us. Take the shot at the last second there, see if we can get some bullets on target there. But now we're up to 31,000, and we've got some making up to do with only 1 kill. I'm going to rely on my teammates that have gotten pushed back, right? We've got a destroyer in the zone. Sometimes you got to let the blue team try and do some things, right? You can't take it all on yourself, right? I'm going to hope that he can manage the battleship that's pushed up, right? Like between the rest of my teammates over there, they're probably all fighting that battleship, and sure enough, he goes down. We give a nice work, right? Sometimes you got to encourage your team to keep them going, right? But that evens the score here. And then we're going to be out far enough to kind of create some havoc and crossfire that's going to ultimately lead to our victory here, right? So we know there's a cruiser somewhere about over on this side. We'll continue to push around and try and find him. Our destroyer picks him up to the Riga, right? We'd have to be a little bit concerned about radar, so I'm a little nervous for our destroyer buddy there. Hopefully he doesn't get overtaken. But we're going to shoot at what we have an opportunity to shoot at here, which is the Kansas so far. I thought I was going to sneeze there, but it didn't. Due to Springman, allergies for me have been freaking brutal. Alright, Kansas coming around the corner. We're going to pick on him, get ourselves lit up. Right, so this is where we're kind of creating crossfires. we're kind of gonna make people not sure what to do, right? Like we're having to make them maybe potentially turn their guns away from our allies. We've got a little bit of health pool left. We can do some sacrificing for our team here. I'm really most interested in the cruiser because he's going after our destroyer, and I want to try and help keep my destroyer alive. Plus, as you can see, he's within range of secondary, so that's going to give us our sort of damage nerf, our incoming damage buff. And yep, we are diverting attention. So I'm just watching the minimap and watching my angling with those two remaining battleships out there. So if they fire at us, we don't take too bad of hits. And what do we got? Kansas has pushed up into the zone. Riga managed to find himself a smoke screen. These guys are going to be close to secondary range soon. Again, trying to keep my destroyers alive and help with the prioritizing the cruiser. If you've got destroyers that are still alive at the 5 minutes left mark, right, you've got some decent destroyers. Marbo is a fire spammy type battleship, so of course, yeah, he got us with the double fire there, so we'll put that out. And then we do have, yeah, Riga's kind of gotten away from us here. Marlborough was giving us a decent angle here, and he is going to run aground. Decent hit there, but a lot of overpens. And then hopefully we can get him within torpedo range here. But yeah, he is going to hyper focus on us. Again, props to the blue team for once in our lives here. Citadel hit on the Marlborough. We're going to get these torpedoes off and maybe one more salvo. We know we've got a cruiser off to the right as well. But now we've the tables have turned here, right? That Kansas pushed up a little too far into my remaining, the remaining ships on my team. We're able to get 110,000 damage out of this, plus whatever we can finish off with this Marlborough with the torpedoes. 3 hits ends him. That gives us it's just a flesh wound, plus the high caliber metal, puts us up to 135,000. We're going to fast forward this game, right? My team does have the advantage here. We do need some destroyers not to die, right? Drops his smoke screen. That was a smart thing to do. You can see both of these guys are super low on health, so props to them for staying alive. I think we end up top on the leaderboard for XP here. Yeah, they finish off the destroyer with torpedoes there. Great job. I do think we end up with the top of the leaderboard for XP here. We'll take a quick peek as it ends here. But I do got to give it to these 2 destroyer players on my team for doing a lot of the heavy lifting there, right? So we'll take a look here quick. 135,000 damage is what we ended up with in the Agir this time around. And yep, we did. Oh, nope, we're second, right? 2,000. Yep, so that Summer CE had a great game there with 3,100 XP. Always a good... It's always nice to break that 3,000 threshold. That means you're doing good. You're pulling your weight, right? All right, last game, at least for today. The moment we've all been waiting for, right? Constellation here. I was not expecting to get a 10,000 damage salvo against him right off the bat, but we get 4 penetration, some decent accuracy out of these main guns for once in their lives. And then he's going to remain sideways to us, so we'll take advantage of that. Right, you notice I am aiming kind of high, right? We're not going to get those, against like heavily armored battleships, we're not going to get those, especially at range, we're not going to get those big heavy hitting Citadel hits. But right, another 10,000 from that salvo there, so we're up to 23k already. And then somebody's got him on fire, so we'll keep harvesting his upper plating and superstructure, right? So yeah, if you find yourself struggling to do damage with, at night, try to use the AP shells a little bit more on this ship. They tend to be a little bit better, right? But you want to aim like sort of higher up on the hull and at superstructure and stuff like that to kind of get the most bang for your buck with guns like these versus a ship like that, right? So for once in my life, I knew the appropriate places to aim, right? So sometimes that's my struggle bus. But yeah, we'll just continue to take advantage of this situation here. we're properly angled to him, or at least somewhat angled to him, if he does happen to decide to shoot at us, even though we did get spotted, right? So started backing up as we saw that salvo come. So he's going to miss most and or all of these bullets. And then, of course, he is getting hyper-focused on by everyone on this flank. 1, because he's the only one spotted, and 2, because he's almost dead, right? So we'll see if we can take credit for the kill here. I feel like it was somewhat deserved, 44k against him. And then my, Ruprecht here is asking for help. I will agree to that since we finished off that battleship. We'll come around the corner here. Potentially a destroyer plus cruiser plus another battleship, and we've got some pretty snazzy sonar that we can utilize if we need it, plus our brawling damage nerfing build for once our if our secondary batteries do get into action, right? So somebody around the corner here might actually be good for us. Seattle and FDG. Secondaries are in range, so we'll trigger the booster. And then since they're backing up, I'm going to take advantage and continue to push up. If this was a situation where they were coming flying around the corner, right, we'd want to be a little bit more conservative with our movements and potentially go a little bit more defensive and maybe kite away or back away, right, whatever we could do. But we're being able to pick on this Seattle 1 versus 1 since everyone else is sort of around the corner. And if you look at the mini map, I've got 2 battleships going around the other flank right around this island. So we know we've got these guys kind of pinpointed in corner. Now I'm not going to push up full, right? You notice I'm slowing down a little bit here. I don't want more than, if I can get away with only the 1 ship being able to shoot at me at a time, that's going to be a win for us. And then this Seattle ends up, right, you can see his attention gets diverted to the other side since those are allied battleships pop around the corner, right? So awareness and mini-map is can be really, really huge for winning games here if you haven't discovered that yet, right? So we'll continue to pick on him. I angling a little bit more since he's not looking this way, right? I angled a little bit more so that we could get more of the secondary batteries firing on him and our rear turret even, right? So we're getting plenty of hits on him. Some of those are doing pretty good, right? 400, almost 500 damage for one little secondary diddly-dally there. And we notice here our base is getting capped. I'm kind of far out. We're going to rely on the battleship that's kind of already heading back, right? I think he knew that was happening. So props again to the blue team for once. We are still down a ship, right? We are kind of still coming from behind in this game. We're down points, down a ship, right? That battleship being in our zone also stops us from getting the +2 ticking points too, right? So it works somewhat similarly to domination, right? When you have capture the base, if somebody's in your base, you don't get the +2 every 10 seconds or whatever it is, right? So the FDG kind of pushes up on us, right, as he tries to get away from the battleships that had pushed around the other flank. So we are a little bit vulnerable here as we're sideways to him, but we've got help. We hit him with the torpedo, and we're going to have a good main battery shot on him here as he comes around, right? So that is kill number 2. There is more to come. We are up to 115,000 damage. I said I saved the best for last, so here it is. And then, yeah, we want to push up on this black. We just need to get ourselves around the corner, right? He's sitting in his smoke screen, but we've got this nice long-range German sonar. So he is going to be in a panic as he pushes around the corner, trying to figure out how to get away from the sonar. Main guns are going to finish him off for kill number 3. Now we are sort of free to move about the country here. We'll push up, try and see if we can head towards their zone. We have a very healthy Musashi up here. I'm not sure what he's been doing this whole game. I preach this quite a bit. If you are a battleship player and you get to the stage in the game where there's only 3 ships left on your team and you are at full health, you have done your teammates a disservice, right? So you have to look at your health pool when you're a battleship player, especially as a resource. Obviously, don't overdo it. Don't push up so much that everyone focuses on you and you die. but you want to be able to try and take some fire from enemies here and there, because if you look at it this way, you're then taking some attention away from your friendly cruisers and destroyers, who you need to help you win the game, right? You can't win the game as a battleship player on your own, right? Especially sitting in the back of the map, right? So yeah, I kind of preach that quite a bit. But I fall into the same conundrum here and there every once in a while too, where I notice the game is going not our way and I haven't used my health yet, right? So I've been there as well. So yeah, so we'll push up on the Musashi. We cheesed the smoke screen from the enemy destroyer. That black had dropped a smoke screen there. And then and we're just going to watch our angling, and if he is going to give us broadside, we are going to try and do our best to hit said broadside, right? Most of us know where to aim on Yamatos and Musashis, right? Hit them right in the guts of that hull, right behind the turrets, the front turrets there. And you can typically do some pretty wicked damage. If you've got angle on them on the front, right, you can kind of aim through the bow a little bit too. That usually works as well. We're going to have a chance for torpedoes here, and then I'm going to turn in towards him so that he doesn't have a good angle on us. We are now alone. I think he finished off our other ship, our friendly ship that was over here, right? But yeah, 3 Citadel hits on there just because he's given us the angle. Torpedoes still on the way. He's within range of secondary, so we're getting a little bit of our damage nerf, right? Our incoming damage nerf, but yeah, he's going to walk right into those torps for us. And then we could have probably, if they didn't finish him off, we would have been able to do it with the main battery there, right? So 4 kills, 200k in damage. I'm desperate for my Kraken here. Borodino's given us some angle, so I'm going to take that shot there. Right, that's another one. We're at range here. We've got the German gun, right? Like so, yeah, we get trinkets for damage there. But we are spotted, and I think he was behind that island, so I'm kind of guessing we potentially have their destroyer coming up to try and challenge the zone with us. So if we don't get the kill on the Borodino, we may have a second chance for a Kraken here. And yep, we get a whole lot of nothing on the Borodino. Here come torpedoes from the destroyer. He ducks behind the island there, so we go unspotted, and of course our Tirpitz finishes off the Borodino, right? So we are going to try and chase down this destroyer, right? We know, like, we've got the game won at this point, right? So I'm going to be, you could argue the smart thing to do would be sit in the zone and try and cap it, right? But I want my Kraken, right? Like, I need it. I need my fix. Solid 900 damage there with the 1 overpen. We are getting some secondary action there as well, though, so that's kind of nice. And I'm just going to wager a guess that he's going to move around this island here and try and come back and try and get the zone reset, right? That's what I would do if I was in his position, right? I would go for and yeah, he did send torpedoes, so he anticipated me continuing to chase him, but I was gonna wager a guess that he would continue moving around the island, right? So I kind of beat him out there, but yeah, like what I would do in his situation, right, is shoot the player that's in your zone, because then you get those defend ribbons, which help for XP and credit earnings, right? So even if you've got the game, you're going to lose, right? There's some things still worth doing to try and earn some extra silver and be better on your leaderboard, right? So, but yeah, so he pops around the corner. We will pop our secondary booster since we just had the timing on it was just perfect. Get all the main batteries on target, and then the secondary batteries managed to finish him off for our Kraken. That is going to be game 3. So that's my redeeming game for my terrible live stream games that I had in the Agir the other night, right? 2800 XP puts us at the top of the leaderboard for that one with the Kraken. We'll take a quick peek at the economy tab, see what we walked away with for silver. Almost 400 grand. And then I'll go into the ship build and the commander build, because I think this is a little unique. Not a lot of people do this, right? So I've gone full-blown secondary battery build with this thing, right? So secondary battery mod there, propulsion mod in slot 2, concealment for slot 3, and then I even have the secondary battery reload time for slot 4. I know some people don't always do that. And then we're using a battleship commander, this Agir Bismarck. And then so for a secondary build for inspirations, your must-have is Franz von Hipper. He is the free-to-play German battleship commander. And then Chancellor Gowron's kind of my unique key here as well, because he has this incoming damage from projectiles to your cruiser while her secondary battery is aiming or shooting, right? I don't even have him fully upgraded, but it's 11% there. And then her base trait is secondary battery focused as well, a little bit better reload and dispersion. I went damage con cooldown here. I don't know, you could maybe do... I don't know. I mean, do I switch this to Brawler here? I can't remember, but like I think you could pick some other things here, right? But yeah, I think like Brawler is maybe a little bit better choice there, just because the main batteries aren't the greatest at range anyway. But yeah, Porcupine is the go-to there for the better secondary battery range, and then she has this unique perk that's similar to Gowron's perk, incoming damage from projectiles while secondary battery is aiming, right? So between that perk and Gowron's perk, right, we're getting almost a 20% damage reduction, right, when you stack those. So that it kind of works, right? Like, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's huge, but... And then I like Properly Meticulous because that kind of... I know some people like Master Mechanic, but with Properly Meticulous, you get the better, like, survivability of your secondary battery and, like, all those extra perks, right? But I know a lot of people like Master Mechanic to get the extra heals as well. Then I am using Will to Rebuild. I wouldn't use Running with Scissors because those are kind of battleship specific, right? But Fight Fire with Fire would be another good choice as well. So, I don't know. I find Will to Rebuild, like, I know some people, like, kind of don't lean that way, but I tend to go, and if like I'm low on health, like I'll go and try and chase down an ally and hang out with them, right? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, that's going to be our shenanigans-filled video for the day. Please do, if you're still watching, props to you, a long video for the day. Thank you for being here. Yeah, special thanks to those of you who chill and hang out with me on live stream and comment on my videos and all that other fun stuff. I really do appreciate that. It helps give my channel a little bit more attention. And then, yeah, if you're subscribed, right, we'll see you guys tomorrow because we do Legends videos pretty much every day. And if you're interested in watching some live streams, I kind of random with my schedule there, so hit the bell so you can get notifications. But yeah, thanks again for watching. We'll see you guys next time.